Today, we're going to look at some very interesting information and see what is really going on with the state of AI in business and the next steps, meaning what needs to happen in order to continue to improve with AI within business. So we're getting this information from a really good, reputable source, which is the Deloitte survey. This is coming specifically from their newest report, Deloitte's State of Generative AI in Enterprise. Now decides next, generating a new future. I was really impressed with this because Deloitte actually went out and surveyed 2,773 leaders, and these came from all over the world, meaning that they were high-level presidents, board members, C-suite members. And this comes from different countries such as Australia, Brazil, Canada, France, Germany, India, Japan, Singapore, Mexico, Netherlands, Spain, United Kingdom, and of course the United States. So this was really powerful in that it was very inclusive as far as getting information, getting perspectives from around the world in many different industries as well. So this included all sorts of industries such as energy, resources and industrial, financial services, life sciences and healthcare, technology, media, telecom, government, public service, all sorts of different perspectives. One of the key findings is that there's a strategic shift in that it's from emerging from technological catch-up to competitive differentiation with generative AI. So this means that there's less of these companies that are simply scrambling to try and get AI, and now they have AI, but now they're trying to see how they can properly use it, how they can properly implement it, and different aspects that go along with that. So it's this slight shift to using it more effectively. This is interesting as well in that they say that a vast majority of organizations we surveyed are taking a realistic perspective and showing sustained commitment in their quest for value from generative AI. And they seem willing to do the hard work that needs to be done. Excellent. So that means that they're showing actual commitment to move forward with it. Here's where we get some really good information. It says that our latest survey results show that access to generative AI is still largely limited to less than 40% of the workforce. Also, for most organizations, fewer than 60% of workers who have access to generative AI actually use it on a daily basis. This suggests many companies have yet to integrate generative AI into their standard business workflows. So there's lots of different things going on here, right? In that everyone doesn't even have access to this within the companies. And then when they do have access, they're only not using it fully. So they're only using it partially. This has a lot to do with several different factors, to include training, to include understanding. So these are some key things, because as I present all this information talking about how AI is going on within business, as academics, we need to understand, okay, well, so then what do I need to teach my students to be prepared for this type of reality that's going on? So let's follow along to see what they say going along with what this means as far as the implementation and the utilization. Their statement here is that for Gen AI to become truly transformational, it requires greater numbers of workers actually experimenting and leveraging the technology to identify new high-impact use cases. Within our organization, the demand for Gen AI use cases and innovation primarily comes from middle management and employees rather than being driven by the C-suite. So that means by the leadership, said the director of the product management for Gen AI cloud and data centers at a leading semiconductor company. While the C-suite has been slower to engage in AI implementation, teams across the company are developing proofs of concept and driving AI adoption through internal boards and governance structures. This bottom-up approach emphasizes improving workflows and test cases, with leadership providing support as needed for broader integration. That's a big deal. That means that it's coming from the bottom up. So that means that these bottom, lower level people are starting to figure it out and understand how to use it, and then being able to push this up and saying, hey, this is what needs to happen throughout the company. That's again where we come in. We have to teach our students to be able to be creative and be comfortable with this AI so that they can do this experimentation. They can start to see how this affects the workflows and then push this up as well. The report goes on to say, and this is a quote from a generative AI product manager at a major technology company, states that we expect a shift towards push-driven adoption in the next year, where all business units will be required to integrate the platform as it becomes an approved and proven tool. This shift will create pressures for teams to leverage the technology or risk missing out on the benefits it offers. That's a big statement, right? Requirement. So there'll be this more and more requirement to actually use a proven AI. So if there's going to be this requirement, then again, in academia, we really have to make sure that we are ensuring that all of our students are developing AI literacy and all the different aspects that comes with that. Yes, they need to be aware of what it is, the capabilities, how to actually use it, but then they also need to have critical awareness, critical thinking in order to implement it properly and have ethical understanding about using it appropriately. I also really like this from the report where it says which benefits of generative AI initiatives are being targeted. It states that improved efficiencies and productivity continues to be the most commonly sought benefit from generative AI in many organizations at 40%. They are already achieving their expected benefits in this area to a large or very large extent. However, our respondents cited slightly higher levels of success in a small handful of more strategic benefit areas, particularly new ideas and insights, 46%, and innovation and growth, 45%. Again, very powerful in that they're looking for efficiencies, how to improve the workflows, but then also using it to generate new ideas, new possibilities, how to do different things with the product. So again, you see how it's really important for us to ensure that students develop this understanding that, hey, there's many different ways to use the AI. There's different types of AIs, different ways of implementing, different benefits that can come from AI if used effectively and appropriately. It also talked about how, yes, there's different areas where AI is proving to be even more effective. One high function area is the IT area, of course, because it helps with computer programming, generating different codes, verifying different things. But then there's also improvements being seen within operations, marketing, and customer service. Big uses there as well. This next section is also really important because it talks about return on investment. There's been some arguments in the past talking about how, oh, AI really isn't providing real return for the money invested. So what's the business model? Well, there is a business model here in that a lot of companies are seeing that they are getting value from the AI. So here's some information dealing with that. The article states that almost all organizations report measurable ROI, return on investment, and 1/5, 20%, report ROI in excess of 30%. Similarly, nearly 3/4, 74%, say their most advanced initiatives is meeting or exceeding their ROI expectations. 43% meeting, 31% exceeding. Also, 2/3 say their most advanced initiative is at least moderately integrated into their broader work processes. And cybersecurity is a big one there. But so are things dealing with strategy, customer service, marketing, IT, supply chain. Again, lots of benefits coming from that. And of course, it's important to be realistic with generative AI. So here are some interesting aspects of things that could slow down the adoption of generative AI within business. They've listed this as impediments to generative AI adoption in the near future. Things like mistakes, errors leading to real-world consequences. 35% say that that's a major issue that they're concerned about. Not achieving expected value, 34%. The ability of enough high-quality data, 30%. A general loss of trust due to bias, hallucinations, or inaccuracies, 29%. And intellectual property issues. So again, concerns about the legalities and things like that. 20% rising costs of building and operating models, tools, and applications. 13% concerns over energy usage and environmental concerns. And even with those concerns, we see here that in answering the question, how long will it take to resolve challenges related to generative AI, the organizations are willing to wait. How long are they willing to wait? Well, a majority, 1 to 2 years. And 17% even say more than 2 years. So there is expectations, but they're also realistic in the time frame, and that it's going to take some time to address all of these issues and to continue to improve. So you can see this is a good visual as far as time to resolve generative AI challenges and how long different companies are willing to wait. In this next section, it's really powerful because it's talking about the future. And the idea here is, what are the future technologies that are really driving businesses, and they're very much focused on these new upcoming things, because this is something that we've talked about in past videos, that, hey, these are important things that we need to understand. We need to develop our comprehension in how these things can be used, because this is important for our students, because they're going to be looking at this into the future. So Listen to this part and see how it's already affecting business. So the topic here is which technology advances could drive the future of generative AI. And you see number one, generative AI for automation. That is agentic AI. That is starting to explode, and the companies see that, yes, there's a lot of value there because of what it can do for the company, how it could increase automation, increase efficiencies. But then right by that is multi-layered systems, multimodal capabilities, new training techniques, and it goes on. In talking about agentic AI, it's expressed that 26% of our surveyed respondents said their organizations were already exploring autonomous agents development to a large or very large extent. The thing that still is affecting them is worries and concerns about regulatory uncertainty, inadequate risk management, data deficiencies, and workforce talent issues, meaning that their people aren't fully trained yet. Once again, an academic issue. So those are some major things going on as far as generative AI in business. But now, what are the next steps? What needs to happen within business in order to fully address these issues and to improve business overall regarding generative AI? So this report offers some good next steps as far as considerations that businesses should be taking. The first one here is building bridges to sustained return on investments, ROI. The bridge to sustained ROI can only be built by establishing the right holistic strategies, building platform capabilities, being realistic about targets and timelines, and taking some risks. In our case studies, we found that focusing on a small number of high impact use cases in proven areas can accelerate ROI, as can layering generative AI on top of existing processes. So that makes sense. But the next part is really hits at academic aspects as far as us ensuring that we're developing our students. So listen to this next one. Prioritize your workforce and prepare it for disruption. Workers need more generative AI access and experience, and they need it sooner rather than later. Effective change management, including education and training, was pivotal in overcoming the challenge. Without adequate workforce buy-in and training, even the most powerful generative AI solution can fail to deliver the expected outcomes. That really hits at the matter that education is needed. AI literacy is key. Another next step in consideration is to start planning for generative AI agents. With agentic AI, the question is not if, but when. Although the technology is still in its early stages, it is evolving rapidly and will likely become increasingly capable over the next few years. And while there are still many challenges to overcome and technical complexities to sort out, now is the time to start preparing. And I would say that now is the time that we ensure that our students are fully developed in that they know how to use these tools. So that means things like, how do you use an agent? How do you manage multiple agents? How do you switch from one type of agent from one company to another? What are the back ends associated with this? What are the risks? All these different things we need to start to take into account. It goes on to say that organizations can begin by developing a strategic roadmap and assessing which tasks and workflows are well suited for agentic AI, identify specific goals and desired value, map out the risks associated with autonomous agents, and create mitigation plans. I also love this next one where it talks about managing an uncertain future. To act confidently and decisively in the face of this uncertainty, organizations should consider boosting their efforts and capabilities in the areas of foresight, market sensing, and scenario planning. This will help leaders model plausible futures, identify potential blind spots in their strategies, and make more informed decisions today. This is a perfect opportunity to talk about pedagogies, the way that we're teaching our students. It shouldn't be all about knowledge and information, but we should be using so much more experiential learning, meaning that students go through different scenarios. What would you do in this situation? Let's pretend that this happened as far as some big problem with the AI. Now let's come up with some solution. How about some case studies dealing with what companies have done in the past? Let's use the AI to create some possible case study scenarios for us to then go through and try to solve. Lots of possibilities here. So this is really important to understand how to prepare our students for the future when you can see that this is the recommendation that they're giving us to begin with. So that's some powerful information overall that comes to us from this really important survey. This powerful report gives us some good insight as to what's going on right now with generative AI in business. Yes, it's increasing and they're looking for return on investment, but they also realize that, yes, it's going to take some time in order to fully implement. And then there's some additional realizations of what needs to go on. They need people, they need a workforce that's fully trained. They need more implementation so that they can use it more. So this again hits right back at us as far as we need to ensure that our students have fully developed AI literacy capabilities, and then that can go there and assist the company in the integration and in using it in many different ways. So that's where we really need to push this overall. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got a lot out of this. Please like and share, subscribe, so that we can continue to develop and learn from one another. So I'm looking for your comments to see what you think about this. Is this good information? Do you agree or disagree? This came from a huge spectrum of people giving feedback at high levels in different businesses, but I'm really interested in your thoughts. Do you see different aspects of how this can be implemented in different way, different things that should be focused on? All right. Thank you, everyone. And remember, learning is for life.